I was adopted at birth. My adoptive parents and I have a good relationship now, but it was rocky for a few years there. They didn't tell me I was adopted, and I found out in what I consider the worst way when I was 16. A spiteful relative told me. It was not out of my best interest, but they got mad at my mom and tried to ruin her life. It caused a huge fight within the family, and everyone focused on the drama rather than my entire life crumbling. I finally ended up in therapy at 18 and have been attending on and off for the past 10 years. Currently on. I didn't speak to my parents from the time I was 18 until I was 23. They acted like I was insane for being upset about all this. Eventually, they apologized and began going to therapy themselves. We've slowly rebuilt our relationship. They've since accepted my search for my bio family and, upon finding my bio mom, have been amazing with her. My bio mom was forced into giving me up. She hadn't wanted to, but her family all but forced her. She had no support. My parents didn't know this part, but purposefully chose a private adoption so I'd never know I was adopted. My bio mom and I have known each other for 4 years now. She is an amazing, kind and generous woman like me. I spent so long feeling unseen and different. She was like completing a puzzle. My bio dad died when I was 12 and it's devastating to know I'll never meet him. He didn't want to give me up either, but they were very young and again, no support. My bio mom told me she'd name me Summer, but my adoptive parents changed it. She understood, but I could tell the name meant a lot to her. I recently got married and I'm changing my last name. I decided since I'm changing my last name, I'll change my middle name too. It's got no sentimental meaning versus summer, which does to my bio mom as it's her favourite season, and I was born on the first day of summer. My bio mom cried tears of joy when I told her. She's so touched. My adoptive parents are angry. They say that I've erased them. I kept the first name that they gave me. They say if I had to, I should have just added Summer to my name. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You have added Summer to your name instead of a meaningless middle name they gave you. I have a middle name, and my younger sister doesn't because my parents didn't see the point in hindsight. Middle names don't exactly come up all the time, so why not make it something meaningful? This is your life, your journey, your name. Do what makes you happy. They even specifically wanted a closed adoption so I would never find out I was adopted. Like they didn't try to erase your bio mom? You've honored all of your parents. My mother was adopted, and her adoptive mother retained her first name as her middle name. The pot calling the kettle black. Excellent point, and the thing I find funny about that too is in my own adoption, the agency told my family that when I was 18, the bio family could contact them at any time and find me if they wanted to since I was of legal age. In fact, that's how I found my own entire bio family, and yes, it was a closed adoption also. So depending on the laws where they live or the agency they went through, choosing closed adoption still doesn't guarantee OP would never find out. And that's not even a concern when you consider how you can expect to keep a secret that literally everyone around you and your child knows. The only break I can give your adoptive parents is, if you were adopted like 50 years ago when the expert advice was to wait until you were old enough to understand or whatever. But as far as I know, the advice and research have supported telling the truth as early as possible for decades. So your parents either did no research when they adopted or chose to ignore it and force you into their bio-child fantasy, overdoing what was best for you. I don't want to call you an idiot, but your parents raised you from birth and you refer to them exclusively in this story as adoptive parents. You feel how you want, it's your life, but you are defining them through text and by doing so putting your mark in how you view your relationship, by the nature of how they came to be your parents and not by how they literally parented you your entire life. I know plenty of birth parents who don't deserve the title of parents, and most of the adoptive parents I know have earned that title a dozen times over. So I, 43 female, and my soon-to-be ex-husband Ralph, 43 male, have a daughter Diane, 18. Ralph worked as a graphic artist and Diane eventually showed interest when planning a career post-high school, so she started taking related electives. The intention was that Ralph would put in a good word down the line for a job or internship at the same company he worked. For all classes related to graphic design, Ralph did easily 75% or more of the classwork. And I don't mean help, he straight up finished all the assignments after work that she would start in class and even submitted them into Canvas himself on her account. This never sat right with me, and we would fight about this on a regular basis, yet the cheating continued, and for 2 years I just aired my grievances without actually ever doing anything about it. In Diane's senior year, so this school year, she successfully got accepted into a hybrid position at a local technical college, so she would take entry college level courses there in the morning and resume high school in the afternoon. Again, I was very angry that she got accepted with Ralph's work, but I lost that argument. In May, I remember watching Ralph complete her assignments while Diane was eating Cheetos and watching Netflix when I finally had enough. She was about to graduate, was going to go to this college full-time, and we, mostly me, I was the breadwinner to be honest, so most of my money went towards that fund, were literally going to pay for tuition that would be mostly cheated on. And I thought this was beyond ridiculous and a wake-up call needed to happen now. So I emailed one of her instructors what I knew and waited. Pretty quickly the college accused her, and both Ralph and Diane knew it was me who said something right away. I'll spare you the details of that argument, but we are divorcing and Diane refuses to speak to me. A disciplinary meeting occurred and Diane had to prove that she was capable of the coursework on her own for some time and failed, so she was expelled. The high school is also conducting an investigation and she lost some elective credits but still graduated. She'll not be able to attend this college again and there is a mark on her academic record. Ralph moved into a relative's place and Diane followed suit. We're going through the divorce now. So the family is pretty split on this, with some saying I did the right thing while others say I shouldn't have interfered, mostly Ralph's family. Am I right or wrong? Holy crap, that's rough to deal with. I'm saying not the idiot. Clearly your morals and ethics are much higher standards than your ex-husband's and your daughter's. I don't know what else you could have done besides going nuclear, considering you addressed this before it got to be this bad. I'm sorry you lost your husband and your daughter out of the situation, but I think you did the right thing overall. Neither of them has any morals or ethics, which is just sad. I think Diane would have gotten caught at some point, but then again, maybe not. Forget that, she doesn't belong at that college because she doesn't have the skills. They proved that. They did this to themselves. Of course she can't go to that college. She doesn't have the skills to be there. Of course she got a mark on her record because she cheated. You didn't do anything. This is all on them. In the long run, you prevented that 20 years from now, everyone learns her life is built on a lie and leaves her in the dust. Honestly, you saved their butts from being sued in the future. I'm going to go with everyone's the idiot. She'd eventually have met up with the consequences when she lost her first few jobs or failed her final year or something of that nature. But you should have allowed for the natural consequences to occur. It perhaps wasn't your place to make it happen. They would have happened eventually and you'd still have a relationship with your daughter as you help her both learn the lesson and pick up the pieces of her mistake. I'm sorry, but I don't think you did the best thing, even if it was technically the right thing. I, 21 male, am a twin. We can call my brother Matthew for anonymity's sake. To get ahead of some of the most commonly asked questions, we're identical. We do things in sync sometimes, but I don't know if it's any more common than two people who just spend a lot of time together and adopt each other's mannerisms. The twin intuition thing is real. We have two older brothers and I love them, but I'm not as close to them as I am Matthew. We've never been away from each other for longer than maybe 3 days. We don't technically live together, but we stay in the same apartment building for college and often just fall asleep at each other's places. My girlfriend, 24, and I have been long distance for basically our entire relationship. I'm busy with school and the music, me and Matthew work together, she lives about 2 hours away and is busy with her job and her grad program. To make a long, somewhat confusing explanation short, she's staying with me for the summer, working shorter hours remotely while she fulfills an in-person grad school requirement at the university I currently attend. Most of her grad program has been online, but this section is not. It's her capstone project, and doing it during the summer basically means she's doing it in double time, so she really has to buckle down and work. I get that. Still, the way she's been treating my brother isn't cool with me. She often rolls her eyes and shuts herself in our guest bedroom when she comes home and sees he's over. We smoke together and screw around on guitars together while we work on music, things she used to be fond of but now seems to hate. The final straw came last week when I got a phone call while I was out of her freaking out. She'd refused to let my brother in the apartment, so he used the key I'd given him and she lost it. She said her boundaries weren't being respected and that I needed to kick him out. Instead, I told her she needed to leave. She's furious, saying she can't find somewhere else to stay on such short notice and I'm screwing up the most important class of her life, saying I'm too codependent on my brother and that I should never have told her she could stay when I knew she needed to work and I wasn't allowing her to do so. Am I the idiot? The dude legit has his own apartment in the same building. Why the heck is he harassing your girlfriend? Brother has no need to be in your apartment when you're not there, and you two can easily jam in his apartment to give us some privacy. You are the idiot for you and your brother. Honestly, if I were the girlfriend, I would have felt completely unsafe. I'm really confused as to why they can't jam or smoke or whatever in his brother's apartment, in the same building. It seems like the easiest solution to all of this, and not once did either of them seem to think about that as a remedy for giving this poor girl some space, as well as peace and quiet to work on one of, if not the biggest hurdle of her college career. OP is completely clueless and an idiot. I have to wonder if OP really didn't want to have a girlfriend around for the summer, sharing his apartment, so he's subconsciously sabotaging her. Smoking, playing music, allowing brother to come over any time even if he's not home. That does not sound like someone who's even trying to be supportive of his girlfriend. Sounds like they change nothing in their habits even though the girlfriend is staying there for a specific duration and reason. Next time you have a girlfriend, you should probably be more explicit about your expectations. My 24 female fiancé, 24 male, is bi and was kicked out when he was 13 after being caught kissing a football teammate. He did a lot of stuff to survive on the street, and to cope, he developed an alcohol habit. An aunt found him and took him in around the time he was 16, and she helped him get clean and into therapy. We met in college and my parents have never liked him. They're pretty conservative, and an ultra-liberal sort of femme nail polish wearing bi guy with a motorcycle isn't their ideal guy, to say the least. He proposed to me a few weeks ago and I've never been happier, even though my parents are against it. They came to visit over the weekend. I thought I was just going to get a talking to about saying yes to the engagement, but they apparently did a background check on my fiancé through connections they have in law enforcement and got a hold of his juvenile records, and which, of course, had some charges. They started saying that they knew he was bad news and that I had to break off our engagement. I was enraged and I cussed them out thoroughly, especially about how they invaded my fiancé's privacy and how they knew nothing about him, that he did those things to survive. They started telling me how he was just using me for a leg up and they were trying to protect me. I told them to get out and that they were morons for doing what they did. My siblings have been calling me, saying I overreacted and that mom and dad are just trying to look out for me and I should apologize. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. What they did was a huge invasion of privacy and they've broken your trust, but also your partner's. You're an adult and part of being an adult is making your own decisions and finding out stuff. Your parents need to respect this and be supportive. They should apologize, especially to your fiancé. If his juvenile records were sealed, someone needs to get busted. OP, do you know who your parents used to get his info? Using connections to access juvenile records and then sharing them is a felony offense in most jurisdictions. You may want to drop a dime on the local district attorney, or if your county protects crooked cops, on a local reporter. That's a massive abuse of authority by someone. Your parents thought they were doing research to support you. They went too far when they tried to tell you that you have to break off the engagement. They have no right to do that, and you kicking them out was the right action. Tell the rest of the family in your face that they should be careful because they could be next. Then block them. Congratulations on your engagement. Well, if you think, future you as a parent, that you wouldn't try to prevent your child from making an obvious preventable mistake, you're wrong, or you're destined to be a bad parent. Best of luck. I hope you beat the overwhelming odds you're facing. You are blind in love, and you are the idiot to yourself. The college I go to has a large international population and many of my friends are from other countries. We thought it would be fun to do a potluck dinner where people brought food from where they were from. This was in June. I'm from the United States and not a big metro area, so there's not exactly a ton of interesting cuisine from my area. The dish I decided was most relevant to bring is comprised mainly of pasta and chicken with a sauce. It's not the most complex dish, it's not something that would wow you, but it's a local dish and it's good, so I made it and brought it. I made it homemade, so I did put effort into it. I brought it to the dinner and my friends seemed to like it. However, a couple of people I'm not as close to, and the girlfriend of one of my friends, Ella, were not impressed. She'd been one of the ones to put more work into organising it. I don't know Ella too well, but we met a few times, and she's always been nice to me and I've been nice to her. Her partner is from Japan and brought a really good dish I've never tried before. Ella asked who brought the pasta, and when I said I did, she just said, "Oh." Afterwards, she texted me saying that I should have brought something nicer. She hasn't talked to me since, and some other people also said stuff to me, saying that I was rude by bringing what I did to the dinner, but we made up. There've also been several jokes made about it. I didn't think I was wrong, but the more I think about it, the more I wonder if I should have just brought nothing. I did try and I did make local food, but maybe I should have left the food to the people with more interesting local foods and stuff people hadn't tried. Am I the idiot for bringing what I did? It's a potluck. Not everyone is a gourmet chef. If you cook something outside your cultural background, she complain about cultural appropriation. You're not the idiot. I used to work with someone like Ella and she sucked the fun out of potlucks. I got fed up once and told her I'm black, Irish and made in the USA, so I'm bringing chocolate Lucky Charms. Only then did she quit asking me to bring a dish representing my heritage. There is really one main job of any host or event coordinator. Make everyone feel welcome so that everyone can have a great time. Sadly, Ella violated this one rule miserably. OP, did you have more fun and fond memories of the event because of what Ella said? If not, that's on her. You were thoughtful to contribute, and your contribution was appropriate. With a better host or event coordinator, your efforts would have been appreciated. Move on from negative people like that.